18th meeting of the Laconia Police Commission to order. And if we could rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
America,
to the republic for which
the
it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
all.
Recording Secretary Deborah Simpkins. Present we have Commission Chairman Doug Whittam, Commissioner Armin Mayhew, and via telephone we have Commissioner Thomas Tarr. So everyone say hi to Tom.
Hi, Commissioner.
How's the water, Tom?
Hey guys, but it's a summer day down here, but that's all I'll say.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah.
I'd like to recognize the staff present, Chief Christopher Adams, Captain Matt Canfield, Lieutenant Richard Simmons, Lieutenant Thomas Sweat, and Prosecutor James Sawyer, who has not yet arrived.
No.
Our quorum has been established, and therefore we have 3 commission members, so we're good to go.
Excellent.
Personnel matters, commendations and awards.
I actually do have something to add to this. I just wanted to bring it to the Commissioner's attention that Eric Adams will be recognized on April 13th and at a ceremony 5 o'clock at the Kristen McAuliffe Center in Concord. And he's being awarded the Friend of Public Health, and that's by the New Hampshire Public Health Association for all the work that he's done.
What date is that?
That's going to be April 13th at 5 p.m. for his work with addiction in the state. So obviously very proud of everything that he's doing and the great job that he's been doing for the last 2 years, and he's now working really closely with Lieutenant Sweat, and we're coming up with really what the next steps are.
Anybody from the department goes down, I want to go down.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It is being presented to him by New Hampshire Public Health Association, and it's Friend of Public Health. And that's it in that category?
All right, training, the chair recognizes Captain Canfield.
Lieutenant Graydon's not here, so I'll fill in on this for him. The PD's recently completed CPR first aid training this week, and next month we'll be doing tactical training, and that's it for training.
Miscellaneous, Laconia Links, Chief Adams.
There should have been 3 articles in the links. One had a picture of our 3 new officers, but item number F, you'll see, or item number D, I should say, you'll see that that's been reduced to 2. And Robin Moyer is doing a presentation on Monday night at the library for the Laconia Historical Society on the history of the Laconia Police Department. As you know, Robin is very involved with the history and archiving a lot of the history and books and uniforms and things of that nature. She does a great job of that, so she'll be presenting Monday night. And then the last article was a St. Patrick's Day safety article, just reminding people to be safe, have fun on St. Patrick's Day, but definitely don't drink and drive. And that presentation is at 7 p.m. at the library for Robin.
Part of that's online on your website.
Yes, we do have a section.
Outstanding. I do.
But, yeah, it's really interesting
Excellent, yeah.
to see the history.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and that's it under the links.
Resignations and retirements, Captain Canfield.
Officer Kelly tendered his resignation on February 24th. He was one of our new hires. He was from Abington, Mass., and Massachusetts is through the Civil Service Program, so when they test down there, they'll stay on the Civil Service list for several years. He got a call from them, and they offered him a job, so he went back to his hometown.
Promotions and reorganization, Captain Canfield.
Detectives are working on doing 4 backgrounds to fill the positions that we have open, and they're looking at getting the polygraphs, the backgrounds, and the psychs done by April 1st, with a start date of mid-May.
Are the psychs, are they done locally or are they done in Dover?
They're done in Concord. Our
Concord.
college is down there.
We used to go to Rochester, I believe it was. So we've switched to Concord.
And that's through the state, or is that through a separate organization?
It is a separate organization. Yep.
Division Bureau Commenders Forum, Captain Canfield.
As you can, I'm sure you've seen in the news, we've done several search warrants recently. We did one on February 18th, resulting in the arrest of heroin and meth, which resulted with the arrest of 2 people being charged, as well as the citywide drug sweep on March 9th. We've increased walk-in beats in the downtown area, especially with the nice weather. So their goal is to not only check in with the local businesses downtown, but to go to some of the problem areas that we've had, in the general area and give that uniform presence. Our mock assessment for national reaccreditation is on April 22nd. Robin's been very hard at work on that stuff. With anticipated reaccreditation August 1st through the 4th. They'll be sending a team of 2 assessors to come out and go through our policies, procedures, our building and everything else to hopefully give us reaccreditation. And then lastly, motorcycle week planning is in full swing, coming up in a couple months.
Good, thank you. Support Division, Captain Canfield, again.
Nothing further.
And Operations Division, Lieutenant Simmons.
The schedule's tight. We have the 2 new people that aren't really on it yet. It'll be a little bit before they're out, and then obviously some new hires coming. So we're not running short, but we really don't have any extra. So I just want to let you know that the guys have really stepped it up, and it's not unusual to see them come in early and stay late. They're really doing more with less right now, and they're being real accommodating when it comes to vacation time and things like that, too. In addition to that, some of the things that we've done in the past month, Officer Cardinal did a talk at New Beginnings to talk to the new employees up there at the Crisis Center. Officer Cardinal also did a talk at Prospect Mountain Middle School. It's called the Voices Program. That's to talk to young girls about careers and things. John Howe was involved in the Pinewood Derby this year. He made his own car and went out and raced with the Cub Scouts. Sergeant Cameron went down and taught driving at the academy. I went down and taught firearms and our new death notification protocol with NAMI, New Hampshire. Officer Short's gone down there for defensive tactics instruction. And coming up, several people will be doing the Winnie Dip. It'll be the chief, Sergeant Finogle, Detective Carson, Detective Horan, Dispatcher Fritzen, Officer Schilling, and Officer Benoit. And then Officer Orton's going to be teaching the 7th grade students on Fourth Amendment search and seizure. And Officer Bassett is going to be doing a talk at Woodland Heights that's community helpers. So there's quite a bit going on. Like I said, we're short. Our call volume hasn't gone down at all. They're still keeping up with everything. Even the self-initiated activity hasn't really gone down. And we're still doing some of these extra community activities.
I think it's noteworthy to notice that our fellows, our people at the department, when we're shorthanded, don't hesitate to step up and fill in the void. We're very lucky. We've got a good department. We really do. We have people who cooperate, who work, and I think it's noteworthy. I think they should be, at least
I would disagree with you on one point.
What?
We have an excellent department.
excellent department.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. I agree.
So
Thank you.
Detective Division.
Captain Canfield stole some of my thunder. I was going to talk about the drug sweep and the background investigation, but I'll skip those since you already heard about them. We've been very busy, obviously. The sweep did net 25 arrests, and we still have 8 warrants outstanding. People that are either avoiding us or have left the area. Been doing a lot of meetings with the county attorney's office, with our local SART team, getting things streamlined and hopefully coming up with some processes that'll make things flow more smoothly. And also, we have a bunch of grants coming together. This weekend will be the first DWI patrol grants, will be Friday and Saturday night. And we received a number of rifles under the grant from the federal government the other day.
Nice. Commissioner Tar, can you hear us?
You know, I'm hearing a lot of background noise, guys, and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it might help if the speakers would speak a little more directly. Maybe you are into the microphone there.
That's probably Deb typing the minutes that you're hearing. Is there a way that that phone can be put over there?
It's not long enough.
It's not.
The speaker wire is quite
Yeah, move it over this
I mean,
way.
the microphone wire is quite long.
Captain,
Can you move the phone
the
that
phone
way?
over this way with the mic. Yeah. There you
Picking
go.
up on the mic on the phone, though, not this.
Is that as far as it can go?
That should be better.
Can you still hear us?
I can still hear you, yeah. I was just hearing a lot of background noise in the last speaker.
Okay. Well, we've moved you a little bit away from Deb, so hopefully that improves.
I think it's better now.
All right. She's going to start typing again, though, so stand by.
Legal Division, Jim
Sawyer.
Sawyer is
No.
not here. If he appears shortly, we can backtrack. Orders and bulletins, Captain Canfield.
Collateral duties, Officer Carlson and Officer Benoit were just made field training officers. And that's it.
I have a question regarding that lateral duties assignment.
Ask away.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was wondering just if the chief could talk a little bit about whether Officer Carlson and Officer Benoit, if this additional training officer duties, is there a trade-off there in terms of their patrol officer responsibilities, and how's that all going to blend in together?
Well, they'll take up their positions, obviously, when we have new recruits. Right now, we're very busy because we have the potential, well, the 6 new officers coming on duty. But besides that, they return to their normal duty. They're out on patrol, so it's only when we do have recruits, and it's unusual, as you know, to have numbers this high, so. And both of them have experience with other departments, and I think they've been doing a really good job from what I've heard so far.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is a new officer assigned one FTO, or is he have to, or he or she maybe have to be working with 3 or 4?
It has changed a couple of times, I believe now, so they switched to 3. Okay, so 3 training officers.
Has that ever posed any problems or differences with the way things are handled, or?
What they'll do is they'll do the first half of the program, which is generally, the whole program is 12 weeks. They'll do the first half with 1 field training officer. They'll do a midterm evaluation with a second field training officer. And then the second half of the program, they go with a 3rd training officer. And then the last week of the program is a 1-week evaluation by the same officer that did the midterm evaluation. And the purpose of being that they don't pick up the traits of just one field training officer. They get the variety of several different officers, because some officers may be stronger in certain areas than other officers. So this way they get the blend, and it kind of makes the best of it.
Good, thank you.
Your training officer then sort of interchange notes and talk about, I mean, so that all 3 of them get together and they can get an idea of how the officer's doing.
They do that on a regular basis. They also have meetings.
Okay.
And then before they get off of field training, they have an evaluation board by all the field training officers and Lieutenant Creighton.
Okay, good.
Commissioner Tar, do you have a question?
No, I think that addressed it pretty well. Thank you.
Anything else under orders and bulletins? No?
Nope.
Okay. Commission action. Acceptance of the February 18th, 2016 minutes. The Secretary's draft of the minutes was sent to you, and a copy is in your meeting packet. Please let me know if there are any errors,
Get those.
omissions. Are there any corrections to the minutes as distributed? If there are none, then the minutes stand accepted as distributed. Consider it done. Review of monthly activity reports. Department monthly highlights. Chair recognizes Chief Adams.
Nothing under that right now.
Monthly fleet report, and the chair recognizes Captain Canfield.
Nothing new on that.
Criminal investigative unit statistics. The chair recognizes Lieutenant Sweat.
Nothing additional. Thank you.
Monthly patrol division statistics. Chief Adams.
So for the month of February, there were 17 domestic disturbances, 65 general disturbances, and 13 suicidal subjects, and 11 violation of restraining orders. LPD volunteered 19 hours. Our victim service unit volunteered 38 hours, serving 22 victims. And I also wanted to bring to your attention, I've been receiving a lot of complaints from citizens who are concerned about traffic violations, distracted drivers. We're seeing more and more, and I think I talked about this the last time, of the people violating the hands-free law. So we've stepped up the enforcement. Like Lieutenant said, we'll be starting some more additional grant patrols as well, but we've had an increase in motor vehicle stops year-to-date, so we've stopped 735 vehicles this year compared to 432 vehicles last year. So a pretty significant increase in motor vehicle stops, and like Lieutenant Simmons was saying, the officers are getting busier and busier with calls for service. We're shorthanded, but they're still out there doing all of the community stuff and also taking care of things like motor vehicle violations. So we'll continue to do that, and hopefully we can get people to change their driving habits. And that's all I've got for that.
Budget printout. The chair recognizes Captain Canfield.
The budget is on track for this year, and I think we're looking at doing the budget, the chief's looking at doing the budget presentation sometime the end of May, beginning of June. I don't think we've gotten the dates yet for that.
But
We did meet with the city manager, Captain Canfield, and myself earlier this week to review our numbers, and at this point, they look okay as approved by the commission
for this couple.
for the upcoming fiscal
Yeah.
2016-17.
Monthly traffic statistics.
I already touched on those.
Do that.
Excuse me, Chief, can we go back to the, just a quick question on the criminal investigations? I noticed there was a large uptick, at least it seemed like, in the warrants and petitions, the juvenile petitions, a big increase.
I'll refer that to Lieutenant Sweat, maybe?
There was a,
I just wondering what that was all about.
the way the process works, a juvenile petition can be generated at any time after an investigation is completed, and it just so happened that a number of them, post the beginning of school, where we usually see an uptick, happened to hit the juvenile prosecutor's office, so he filed a whole bunch in, I think it was the end of January, beginning of February, so that's why you see that big bump.
All right, thank you very much.
Correspondence to and from the department.
With a thank you and a photograph of the Unified Basketball Tournament that was held in Belmont. I attended, Sergeant Hubbard attended as well, and I think we might have made some sort of financial contribution as well. So that was a great time. Teams from all over the Lakes region participated, and it's a great program, as you know. We had a thank you note from Salvation Army for participating in the bell ringing that we do every year during the Christmas time. And there was a thank you from a landlord in the area for the recent drug sweep and the drug arrests. I believe that concludes correspondences.
Chief's report. Chief Adams.
Thank you. Under performance report cards, we had 14 cards. During the time period, all of them were As, and I believe one B. And I do not recall if we went over the annual report for 2015. Captain Canfield forwarded this to me. There were 164 cards returned, and 162 of those were As, so that's a 99% A rating, and then, or A/B rating, and there was very few, as you know, that were anything less than a C. You know, our goal, obviously, is to get more back, and for various reasons, people don't return them. Sometimes the officers forget to hand them out, and we constantly remind the officers to do it, because it's a great tool, really, to measure our successes or areas that we might fall short, so. But we'll take it. The ones we get back are usually very good. So I just wanted to give you that information.
I wrote an article that when a survey is administered, if you get a 15% return, that's good.
That's good, yeah, so.
Any chance, Chief, that they might expand on handing out, because they only hand out those cards for certain infractions, right?
That's right, for accidents and criminal cases.
Yeah.
So I think your question was handing those out for any interaction whatsoever, or?
Yeah, I mean, within the limits.
Right,
But I mean, you're only getting a report on two actions, actually, and officers interact with the public on many different things, and it would be nice maybe to give them an opportunity to put their feelings.
yeah. Yep, something to think about, for sure. Thank you. Notification of Personnel Directive, Lieutenant Simmons worked on this directive. It's been around for quite some time, but I think we had actually two different documents that led to some confusion on notification, and also with the reorganization, we kind of needed to get that squared away, so there was no questions about notifications for certain type of incidents. So that's all that was, and I think it's been working out
So
pretty
this is
well.
the revision of the old,
It's a, yeah, it's a I don't know if you have anything more to add, Lieutenant.
And the old way was the report to the two division commanders. Now, we don't really have the two division commanders with the restructuring. The policy didn't really make any sense, so we just had to tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
But it's worked out well.
so you changed the date, issue date?
It will when it comes out for the final draft. When you sign it, the new date will be on there.
I know it's early, it just happened, but how's this new restructuring seem to be working out?
I think it's working out nicely, and as you recall, one of the main reasons behind it was the communication piece and having a more direct line of communication. We've already heard back on several incidents that we've had that the officers like it because there's less confusion sometimes when you have two captains, two different divisions, and so I've heard only positive this far, and I'm not sure if anybody else wants to jump in, but it's definitely doing what I envisioned it and the captain envisioned, so. You said the Winnipesaukee dip, we're doing that this Saturday at 12 o'clock, so we'll be shaving all of our scruffy beards, which will make some people very happy. It's getting kind of itcy, so.
Wear your long undies, the water's gonna be cold.
It'll be a little chilly, but we've had worse years. And I just want to give a quick... Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to go back to Directive S107 for a second.
Yes.
Is this a policy change, or particularly in section number 2, notification of the police commission? Is that something new now that the watch commander or watch supervisor is going to be notifying us?
No, that has been in the policy for quite some time, so,
Yeah.
and most of the times, I'll notify the commissioners, although there are times that the supervisor will, so that is not new.
Okay. So do these policies, are they reviewed annually, even though they're issued? I understand how the issuance works. Are they reviewed annually for any kind of adjustments and modifications?
We do review a lot of the policies on a regular basis. Obviously now with reaccreditation, we're looking at it closely, and most of the policies have been added to Power DM Yeah, so yes, we do look at the policies on an ongoing basis, make sure there's nothing that needs to be changed, like with the reorganization, or if there's best practices, or something brand new that we need to create a policy for. That's definitely something we do.
Okay. So in other words, going forward here, we, the commissioner, can be expected to be, on occasion, notified by the watch supervisor of one of those incidents listed in the first section there.
That's correct. Do not be surprised if you get a text from the supervisor. And of course, you'll be hearing from me as well, so.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the method, and you just answered that.
Yep.
You primarily text message?
Yes, we changed over to text messaging just because it was a lot easier for the supervisor to notify. Instead of making 5 or 6 phone calls during an incident, he can send one, he can send one text out and everybody will receive it. So makes life a lot easier for the supervisors. If it is a major incident, he will call the captain or myself.
Okay. Well, I want to make it as easy as we could on the watch supervisor. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Old business.
I was actually just going to really touch base quickly on, to give you an update on the overdose scenario. This year, we had been doing fairly well. We had 1 suspected overdose death, and we had, I think, somewhere around 8 to 9 overdoses. This last weekend, we had 4 overdoses, or suspected overdoses. One was a fatality, 25-year-old male, I believe. The second one was, I believe, another 25 or 27-year-old male who was in critical condition. And so there was 4 this weekend. And obviously, we're looking into that, investigating it. But you know, you're seeing all over the news, a lot of smaller towns are now speaking on the news. I think Woodstock and Northfield, recently Northfield had 2 overdoses this last weekend and had a pretty significant drug bust, but it's taken its toll everywhere.
Chief, just a quick question. I'm wondering if, just in general, of these overdose calls, what percentage would you ascribe to the number of individuals who have responded to more than one time? Just a range of percent, roughly.
I missed the question. Can you repeat yourself?
I just wondered, with the overdoses, responding to the overdoses of late, say, since the first of the year, or even going back a few months, what percent would you ascribe to the number of people who have overdosed before that you responded to aid them?
I couldn't give you an exact percentage, but I don't. It's not uncommon for people to overdose multiple times. There was an incident or instance, I think last year, maybe the year before, where the fire department had administered Narcan at least 5 to 6 times, and the individual sadly ended up dying. But it's not uncommon for people to overdose over and over again, and you know, the benefit of the Narcan, obviously, and it's controversial, and some people say, well, if people are going to use the drug, they should be prepared to die, but at least gives them that lifeline to hang on until maybe they decide that they want the help, or the help becomes available, or they're able to get into a treatment center. And that is one of the benefits of Narcan. But we certainly can look through our numbers and get a more precise percentage for you. It's a good question.
I'm just curious. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all I have. Thank you.
What's the turnaround time for a toxology report? I mean, you have a suspected overdose, blood is drawn. What's the turnaround time before you get a definite response back?
It can take some time, because as you can imagine, they're inundated down in Concord. Last year, they're still trying to total the number of overdose deaths, but it's right now, it's at around 460, and that's in 1 year. And I think this year, it's going to skyrocket even higher. So it takes quite a long time to get that back, but they do try to expedite it, obviously, especially if there's a criminal investigation and more departments, the Attorney General's office, the U.S. Attorney General, they're really looking at pushing overdose cases and charging individuals with those deaths.
All toxicology reports come out of Concord, right?
out of the medical examiner's office, yes.
Yep.
Chief, are we making some pretty good progress on those outstanding warrants from those suspects that were not apprehended in the initial sweep last week?
Since the actual sweep, we've arrested 5 more people, so the total's up to 25.
So yes, to answer your question, patrol and the detectives are actively looking for the individuals that have outstanding warrants.
Yes, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing else, Sandell?
Nope, that's all I have. Thank you.
You know, it's got to be a little discouraging for our officers, like the night we went out and they made 16. The next morning, 13 of them were out on the street. And I realize that's the law, they have bail and all that, but that's got to be a little bit discouraging. You work your butts off to get something done, and, you know, they almost laugh at you. I mean, you know, I'll be on the street tomorrow morning, and they were. 13 out of the 16 were out on the street the next morning.
Just to follow up on Commissioner Mayhew's comment, which I think is right on the money. I was wondering if the people that were released on bond or bail, do they have a supervision requirement to the state probation office there?
There's very little pretrial supervision, so the answer is probably no.
Could you repeat that?
Talk loud.
There's very little pretrial supervision provided by the court system and the probation because it can't be ordered. They're considered innocent until they're proven guilty.
So they are being monitored or supervised by probation then?
No. That's what I'm saying. There's very little. It has to be a very special case.
Okay, well,
So to answer your question, Commissioner Mayhew, yes, it can be disheartening, but I think it also sends a message to the community. It sends a message to people coming in that, yes, you're going to be arrested. But, you know, the whole current epidemic that's going on has a toll on the officers just in general. I mean, they're responding to many overdose calls. Some of the officers are performing CPR on these patients until the fire department gets there, which can take a toll on officers. It's a lot more calls that we're going to that are associated somehow with heroin or drugs, so it can be challenging, and we definitely keep, you know, our ears and eyes open for the welfare of the officers. As you know, we have that program for the officers for traumatic incidents, and giving CPR to somebody can fall under that, and we follow up, the supervisors follow up and make sure that they're okay and that they are aware of all the services that are available for them. So it takes a toll in, you know, many, many ways.
Now, this is probably a little early, but that civilian police academy works out real good. The last one we had was poor attendance. When are we going to have the next one? I'd like to be able to start early enough, publicizing it, to see if we can get 16, 17 people.
It's always in the fall, around the same time. We're kind of working on, we may do it a little differently this coming year and do it up at the Taylor home, for Taylor home people in that facility. So it hasn't been completely decided yet if we're going to do that or we're going to run another class the way that we already have. So that's still in the planning work.
Have you ever given a thought to probably putting one on for teenagers?
I hadn't really considered that, but I mean, that's certainly an idea.
Right, and if you remember, we're getting our Police Explorer post up and running again, which will obviously target youth. But one of the ideas that Lieutenant Sweat came up with, we do a lot of community presentations. So he created a feedback form, an evaluation form, and on the bottom of it, I think it asks, or we're thinking of having a question, are you interested in participating in the Citizens Police Academy? So
That, and also, are you interested in volunteer opportunities?
So I think that in itself will get us a ton of people.
Well, the reason I mentioned the teenagers is, and I think having it at a Taylor home is great, okay? Those people need to be aware of what's going on. But they're not the problem. The teenagers or the other people are the ones that cause the problem. I mean, you know, if we didn't have any more problems than what we get from the Taylor home, we'd have it made.
You might want to consider contacting Peggy Sullig at Adult Ed.
Yeah.
I mean, her advertising and just getting the public involved is pretty amazing.
That's a good idea. One of the other ideas that came from one of the previous Citizens Academy graduates was, I have the list of all the prior classes, so a couple of months out, I'll go through and call every person that's been through the academy and ask them if they know anybody who wants to come in. And that was a good suggestion that we took in. I think that'll work out also.
As you know, I've attended most of those classes, and I find that everybody that goes to them come out of there saying, gee, we didn't know police officers did this, or did that, or did something else, and it's a good program.
Yeah.
Great program.
It's an excellent program.
Yes.
Excellent.
You got excellent man on your brain today.
New business. New business?
Nothing there.
Confirm the date of the next regular meeting,
April 21st.
April 21st, 2016.
Yep.
I would imagine Commissioner Tar will be back here by then.
I'll be present and accounted for at the
April 21st, 2016. It is. Other business.
Nothing.
Citizen comments. Yes, young lady. For the record, it's Councilwoman Bear.
Thank you. But as a citizen, back to the release of the people who've just been arrested on the drug thing. They were released, most of them, on PR, personal, and that means no money involved. So for them to walk away, do you lose a lot of them because they've got nothing to lose? They don't go anywhere.
No, I wouldn't say so. I think,
They don't show up.
go ahead, Lieutenant.
That's not the issue. They've, like, I heard somebody in the audience say, it's hard to get rid of them. They basically show up, but it's what they do while they're out on bail that's the problem.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, with the PR bail, if they're released on $2,000 PR bail, if they don't show up, they have to post that money when they get picked up. So it does ensure that they return.
Oh, okay.
when did probation stop in pretrial supervision? Is that a new policy they have, or has that been in place for a while? Anybody know?
To my knowledge, especially at the misdemeanor level, it's never really been in effect. They would have to already be on probation or parole. Perhaps you know better?
Is there a need for non-public?
No, there is not.
That being the case, I move that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for joining us from Florida.
Yes, you know what? It's been great